Good luck. Good luck. Hi all. Welcome first web series that Dermapen India is doing. It's great that you've come on board. This is an informal and short platform, and we hope you can use this informal atmosphere to ask questions and discuss. We hope that once all this COVID situation is over, we can move this to a more formal session. I would like to introduce here our Dr. Andrew Christie, who's the clinical director and global medical trainer for Dermapen World. Welcome, Andrew.
Thank you so much. It is my absolute pleasure to be here.
Over to you, Andrew.
I am incredibly excited to be here. Now, I understand that we have a blend of existing Dermapen 4 users, some microneedling specialists, and also many practitioners who are new to this treatment. Today's topic, I wanted to create something that is general, but I really wanted to deliver the value of microneedling as a procedure, but particularly hone in as to why Dermapen by brand and Dermapen by name will deliver above and beyond that value to yourself as a practitioner, but also to your patients as well. So we're going to explore why microneedling in general, and then why Dermapen 4 as your preferred choice of microneedling device. For this series, we are going to catch up at the same time, at the same day, each week. So please make sure that you leave some space in your diary so we catch up. Next week, we will be moving into a different topic of exploring exactly what indications may be treated with Dermapen 4, but also explaining why these indications deliver such success. Now, today's session is moderated by my colleagues, which means that you've got the capability to actually type in any questions that you may have. If you just look at your screen where it says Q&A, and then this will be sent to the moderating team, and then questions and answers which relate into today's topic, I will then have the capability to answer towards the end of the webinar. For any more intensive questions that you may have, or they may not relate into today's topic, we can answer those separately, either via email, or they may appear in one of the topics that we have over in the next coming weeks. Of course, your feedback, of course, your opinion is instrumental to the success of these webinars. So myself and the team at Dermapen World India would love to hear your opinion on topics, on indications, and protocols that interest you so that we can further tailor and customize this experience to you more. Because of the casual layout here, and I welcome you to my living room here in Paris in France, it means that the topics we discuss are going to be a little less formal than the traditional workshops that we offer with myself and the team also with Dermapen World in India. So as such, there's no slides, but I will be sharing with you some products and showing with you in front of the screen as much as I can with props, but your local team will support you with any further technical information that you may have. Of course, for today's session and for ongoing education, please make sure that you connect with the team at Dermapen World India on social media, and this includes Facebook and Dermapen World _India for connectivity on Instagram. Make sure you also connect in with the team from Dermapen World on both Facebook and Instagram. My Facebook is unfortunately absolutely jam-packed full, but you are more than welcome to follow me on Instagram. You can just look me up as Dr. Andrew R. Christie, and you'll be able to find and follow. At the moment, between Dermapen World India and Dermapen World, we are working to create consumer-oriented videos aiming for the end patient, exploring tips and tricks, exploring ways to maintain their skin during these challenging coronavirus times, but also informing them about Dermapen, about DP Dermaceuticals, and about the success and the versatility of these procedures as well. Whenever I look at any procedure that is available within the aesthetic or the dermatology market, it is of great importance that I link the value of that procedure to the local demographic. When I have a look at the Indian market, I must take note that we are dealing with the highest risk demographic for post-inflammatory hyperpigmentation, and we are dealing with a high risk demographic for the formation and activation of profibrotic growth factors, or your precursors to scar tissue, abnormal collagen deposition, but precursors for hypertrophic scars. As such, I must take this into consideration, and as such, I must deliver and understand these challenges to now make microneedling and to now make particularly Dermapen a valuable procedure, but most importantly, a safe procedure for the wider demographic in India, but for every patient, for every procedure, and every indication which you undertake. Why microneedling? What is it that makes it successful? What is it that adds value to the worldwide aesthetic market? But what is it that gives it even greater value and acceptance within the local Indian demographic? The philosophy is exceptionally simple. I want you to think back to childhood. You were riding on your bike and then you fell off. You grazed your knee. So on that area of micro trauma, that graze, on goes a sticking plaster. That remains in place for around about 3 to 4 days. Following that time, you then remove the sticking plaster. What you visually notice is that the area which was traumatized, which was grazed, which was damaged, visually, you'll now notice that it's whiter, pinker, softer, smoother, better texture, better tone, better quality, even when compared to the surrounding tissue. So very basic science. We understand that if human skin undergoes a process of micro trauma, then human skin has the capability to reset, to rebuild, to rejuvenate, and to regenerate itself to an even better quality and condition than what it was beforehand. The philosophy of microneedling and Dermapen is very simple. It promotes autologous regenerative healing. This is actually, in fact, the largest growth area in aesthetic medicine. And this means we work with the body's own natural inflammatory and controlled wound healing response to now promote more effective release of growth factors, more effective regulated collagen deposition, but also controlled angiogenesis. However, with the Dermapen and microneedling procedure, we deliver this response fractionally. The benefit of this for the Indian market, particularly with a Dermapen device, is there is absolutely no heat in this device. So by removing the heat, this automatically removes the risk of post-inflammatory hyperpigmentation. So by comparison to patients who are not suitable for laser, who are not suitable for IPL, who are not suitable for any other thermolytic treatments, radiofrequency, heating of the skin, medium or deep chemical peels, 100% of patients coming into your practice and clinic are suitable for microneedling and are suitable for a Dermapen procedure. Now, you may be aware of precursors or pioneers of microneedling. Popular across the Indian market, we still see subcision, we see the microneedling stamp, and we also see the microneedling roller. There's some challenges with these styles of devices. For subcision, it's entirely practitioner dependent. The downtime is extensive. When we look at the microneedling roller and stamp, You cannot adjust needle depth. As such, there's always this thought process that says the deeper the needle, the more aggressive the treatment, the more blood you draw, the better the treatment. Absolutely not. I will challenge you on this one. But I also take into account that both the stamp and the roller, again, are highly practitioner-dependent devices. When we assess the roller, it's problematic. Although the needles may penetrate at a 90-degree angle, as that barrel turns over the skin, some 75% of your revolution are the needles cutting and arcing through the skin. This is a problem if demographically or genetically you have a high risk of release of profibrotic growth factors or your precursors for scar tissue. This also serves as a high risk via the ablation and the over-traumatizing of the skin for the endpoint of post-inflammatory hyperpigmentation. So again, I go back to my previous point. You have options, you have choices of many styles of devices, many styles of skin rejuvenation, but the value of your device, the value of your modality has to match into your local demographic, which has a high risk of post-inflammatory hyperpigmentation and a high risk of activation of scar tissue precursors. This is where the role of automated microneedling now delivers value, now delivers safety, but most importantly, delivers predictability for your market, both as an expert practitioner, but also for every patient coming through. As such, you can safely treat 100% of Fitzpatrick skin types and 100% of ethnicities coming into your practice with automated microneedling, such as Dermapen, without the risk of post-inflammatory hyperpigmentation and without the risk of activating profibrotic growth factors. The advantage is, particularly with Dermapen exclusive oscillation, is that you will be able to deliver a comfortable procedure even without use of a topical local anesthetic. This means comfort for the patient, but most importantly, it also means profitability for the practitioner. The treatment itself physically only takes around about 4 to 5 minutes. So again, Dermapen technology delivers profitability for the practitioner, comfort and efficacy for the patient. Now, at this point, you're probably assessing many options within the microneedling market, and it's not hard to become bamboozled by all of the choices out there. How, as an expert practitioner, do you identify an exceptional microneedling device by comparison to any old microneedling device? This is an automated microneedling device, but this is not a Dermapen. This is an original, trusted, Australian, innovative Dermapen. The Dermapen brand are the creators and inventors of automated microneedling. And this saw a mass movement away from the old microneedling stamps and rollers. It was developed in Australia in 2010, and the Dermapen 4 is the latest update to the international market and perhaps the greatest innovation in the history of microneedling. From a practitioner perspective, one of the biggest challenges that I see across the market is practitioners are very, very focused on how many needles are contained within a microneedling device. And then they incorrectly use that figure to determine if, yes, it is an exceptional microneedling device, or no, it's not an effective microneedling device. So it's not uncommon that you're going to see some devices which have many, many needles. You'll also see some devices which don't have so many needles. And you would be mistaken to think that the one with the largest amount of needles is going to be the best. Let me explain this. With automated microneedling, it's not just about how many needles your device has, but it's actually the harmonious relationship between needle cartridge and the power or the oscillation of the motor. For example, this microneedling device here. Let's say that it contains 20 needles. That's great. That's many needles. So we would probably think that this is a superior device. Not necessarily. In order to sustain the oscillation, the power, the technology of 20 needles, then you require a very large motor. If you don't have a motor that can sustain that level of power and can sustain the 20 needles oscillating, you're going to have some problems. That means that the power is not transferred to the needle cartridge, which means that the practitioner and the patient will experience dragging and pulling on the skin, which also means that you will not be able to operate the device in fast stripe-like motions. You're going to have to work a lot slower. So automatically I see two issues here. We're going to experience striping and tearing of the skin. That increases downtime, but secondly, the slow movement is going to increase patient discomfort. For a DermaPen procedure with an original trusted Australian DermaPen 4, the downtime is just 36 to 48 hours under normal circumstances of a mild to a moderate sunburn in both appearance and in sensation. So you should never see scabbing. You should never see bruising. There should never be any grazing, and neither should there be any track marks. The ingenuity of a DermaPen 4 device, particularly when you look at the shape, when you look at the size of this device compared to an inferior device. Again, it's the relationship between the motor contained here, hence the size and the shape of the device, to now drive the physical needle cartridge. For a DermaPen 4 device, the needle cartridge is 16 33 gauge needles in a single use sterile needle cartridge. There's 52 individual components contained within this needle cartridge, and it's these design features that have won DermaPen 4 a myriad of awards for its design, for its engineering, and for its innovation. Within the first week of the launch of DermaPen 4, it had already won the Australian Good Design Award. The needle cartridge containing 16 33 gauge needles is now operated and powered via DermaPen motor technology. At top speed, this now delivers an oscillation of 120 revolutions per second. This is immense power. 120 revolutions per second, the power, multiplied by 16, which is the number of needle cartridges contained in the needle cartridge here, means that DermaPen 4 delivers an unsurpassed and unparalleled 1,920 puncture channels per second. So at nearly 2,000 fractional rejuvenating puncture channels per second, the power of your DermaPen 4 completely overpowers and overruns and completely delivers above and beyond any old microneedling device. This power means that treatments may be performed in as little as 4 to 5 minutes. The power and the oscillation will diffuse nerve receptors, which means you may not necessarily require use of a topical local anesthetic. The power reduces discomfort for the patient and ensures that there is no risk of track marks, bruising, grazing, or any major discomfort or extensive downtime following the microneedling procedure. And it's for these reasons that we now see the value of DermaPen as the originator, as the inventor, but offering complete versatility. The minimum needle depth is 0.2 of a millimeter. So as opposed to a roller, as opposed to a stamp, which is pre-set and can't be controlled, cannot be changed, with Dermapen we can go from a minimum of 0.2 to a maximum of 3 millimeters. And this is called a scar treatment setting. So we see this interactive screen here where I can simply change my depth to customize my procedure. I want to make a very clear statement, however, just because you can go up to 3 millimeters does not mean every patient is immediately 3 millimeters. So I look at the work of Fernandez, one of the pioneers of the microneedling stamp and roller. And I look at some work produced in 2006 with his colleague Aust from Germany. And what they established is that you can achieve the same level of collagen induction therapy, activation, synthesis, and production with 1 millimeter as what you can with 3 millimeters of depth. So I want to be very clear that over-treatment is not advantageous. However, the design of the Dermapen 4 device operating at top speed, 120 revolutions per second, with a 1633 gauge needle cartridge now means that you can deliver an unprecedented 1,920 puncture channels per second. This means greater comfort for your patient, greater profitability for you as the practitioner. This removes extensive downtime and ensures that there is no bruising, track marks, grazing on the skin. The Dermapen 4 device has absolutely no heat. So this therefore renders it a suitable device for patients affected by post-inflammatory hyperpigmentation. This renders it suitable even for those patients with risk of controlled hypertrophic scars. So the versatility now delivers safety, duty of care for all Fitzpatrick skin types and for all ethnicities coming into the practice. The ingenuity of the needle cartridge, particularly delivering almost 2,000 fractional puncture channels per second into the skin, now also serves as an effective infusion system. This means we can deliver an active substance or solution into the skin with far greater saturation and distribution than nappage or point-by-point technique, injections for mesotherapy, but also by comparison to any other style of modality. So microneedling now updates itself. It's not just the role of the needles to activate regulatory growth factors, regulated collagen deposition and angiogenesis via a controlled microtrauma and wound healing response with no heat or ablation, but it's the nearly 2,000 puncture channels per second, which now delivers active solutions into the skin. As such, there is a non-negotiable for our Dermapen procedures. And the non-negotiable is the role of DP Dermaceuticals. And this line accompanies the Dermapen for effective infusion, but also for effective patient care as ongoing maintenance, pre-op and post-op care. There are a couple of choices from your classic range, which works with specialized aseptic airless pumps to allow for effective and safe infusion into the skin. All the infusing products are based on a specialized complex called Hydrofuse. And this is a specialized triple molecular weighted hyaluronic acid complex that reduces the molecular size and weight down to just 10 kilodaltons in atomic weight. This means safe infusion, no risk of granulomas, the pH of the product is correct, and the chemical form of the ingredients is ideal, so there is no risk of burning or post-inflammatory hyperpigmentation. In fact, the purity of the product is so safe and efficient that I can eat it. It doesn't make it taste any better, but if you want to, you could eat it. The other option we have, which will be soon to launch as an exclusive in the Indian market, is the brand new MG collection. And these specialized 5 milliliter mesotherapy ampules in glass vials here now deliver even further innovation. These simply hook up to a Luolox syringe and can be used to be applied onto the skin topically for injection-free technique, or maybe administered with traditional mesotherapy to now serve as combination therapies. The DP Dermaceuticals also produces anabolic chemical peels called the Uber Pro and MD, which further develop your microneedling procedures itself. So by comparison to a microneedling device, Dermapen 4 are the inventors of automated microneedling. We know through Google Analytics that the Dermapen brand is what the average patient and consumer types into their Google search. As such, this puts us in an area of confidence that your average patient refers to microneedling as being a Dermapen procedure. They don't call it microneedling, they don't call it skin needling, they don't call it collagen induction, they call it Dermapen by name. So we know that our authorized treatment providers in India are guaranteed to have patients sent to their business as patients look for original, trusted, innovative Dermapen by name, but Dermapen trained and qualified authorized treatment providers. A question that has come up, which really assists us in understanding the role of Dermapen as an innovation, experiencing the harmonious relationship between motor and needle cartridge, is what about radiofrequency and microneedling? For me, radiofrequency microneedling is not the same as a Dermapen automated microneedling procedure. The innovation of your Dermapen procedure here is that at full speed, it is now delivering at 120 revolutions per second, an unprecedented speed 2, speed 3, speed 4. Hear that power. It's delivering an unprecedented 1,920 puncture channels per second into the skin. If you have a radiofrequency microneedling device, there may be anywhere from 2 to 5 needles. They go in, you hold anywhere up to 7 seconds, out, in, out. This means that you are barely, in some cases, getting 1 puncture channel per second. And on the other end, in some cases, for good, the patient may have 2 or 3 puncture channels per second. That's very different to Dermapen, where you have nearly 2,000 puncture channels per second. So mathematically, we see that these are 2 very, very different styles of modality. Likewise, we understand that with radiofrequency, there's also a heat element, not with a Dermapen. So the consumable is the needle cartridge here, which is single use and sterile and swapped for every patient. And then our combination therapies with our DP Dermaceuticals now allows us, as a non-thermolytic procedure, to deliver the ultimate of infusion, mesotherapy, plus autologous skin regeneration via our puncture channels delivered by our Dermapen 4 device. So I'm now going to cover a couple of the questions that have come through, and then I will tie up today's session. But please continue on sending through some of your topic ideas so that we can develop over the next couple of weeks. Next week's topic, just as a repeat, is going to be precisely which indications can I treat with my Dermapen 4, but why can I treat those so successfully? Just as a preview, this will include some unusual indications, including vitiligo, particularly acral vitiligo, but even indications in other fields such as veterinary medicine, where Dermapen is used globally for treatments such as alopecia X, a condition which affects Pomeranian dogs, and Dermapen is used to reactivate hair restoration and growth. So there are 4 speeds with your Dermapen device under classic circumstances. So I turn the device on. What you hear now is speed 1. That is 66 revolutions per second. So mathematically, 66 multiplied by 16, and then you get how many puncture channels per second. Speed 2 is 90 revolutions per second. So 90 multiplied by 16, the number of needles in the cartridge, gives you your puncture channels per second. We then move to speed 3, which is 105 revolutions per second. 105 multiplied by 16 gives you your number of puncture channels. But then for your standard rejuvenating procedures, speed 4 is 120 revolutions per second. Multiply that by your 16 needle cartridge. This is how we get the figure of an unprecedented 1,920 puncture channels per second. So whilst your power is on, you can change your needle depth at any point at any time. So the speed does not affect your needle depth, it will affect your technique. And this will be areas that we cover over the next few weeks, particularly for scar rejuvenation as well. However, as part of the scar treatment setting on the Dermapen 4 device, as I increase the depth to 3 millimeters, you'll hear that the speed automatically slows down. And this takes the speed to just 60 revolutions per second, but this is going to create a change in technique. Whereas instead of gliding the device, we're actually going to imprint with it, even at a multiple angle, to now treat and target bound hypertrophic scars, burn contracture scars, and combination therapies, even for keloids and hypertrophic scars as well. Another question that has come through is, when would I consider using 3 millimeter depth? Quite simply, the skin will tell you everything that you need to know. Microneedling globally, and this is going to be a huge area of development for next week's topic, has always been very focused on mathematics. Microneedling in mathematics does not work. I hear the rumor that all anti-aging procedures must be 1 millimeter of depth. How does that work? Because the density of patient's skin changes from forehead to chin to cheeks to nose. Your driver's side generally has thinner density than your non-driving side. Likewise, also, density changes from patient to patient to patient, region to region on the body, but also we take into account lifestyle, medication. So a patient on blood thinners is going to bleed a lot easier than a patient not on those. So this is where I look at treating for a visual endpoint. For 3 millimeters, you need to have scar tissue that is bound that can justify 3 millimeters worth of depth. So you always need to watch. Another question I've been asked is, can we treat around the periorbital area? Of course, this is where you would be working at a depth of around about 0.2. It can go higher, patient dependent, but I can use right underneath the lash line. I can treat right through the tear trough itself, and even onto the mobile parts of the eyelids, where I work up towards the brow to naturally support the tissue as well. Another question that has come through is, can I use Dermapen for treatment of melasma? Yes, this is an area that I have explored extensively and also have published work. For treatment of melasma, this is a multifactorial condition. So as such, the role of topical products with DP dermaceuticals becomes instrumental with the patient, but the role of Dermapen plus infusion of your DP dermaceuticals now delivers a synergy of solutions as well. So with this, we see the versatility. A final question that I've been given is the thickness of the needles. They are 33 gauge. So within the needle cartridge, there are 16 33 gauge needles for this. Final question, which has just come through: can Dermapen be used with other products, or must it only be used with the DP dermaceuticals? DP dermaceuticals is the non-negotiable of all Dermapen procedures. For the same reason that you would not inject moisturizer into a patient's face, for the same reason that you would not microneedle in a serum that's designed just for topical home care, or a patient's favorite moisturizer into their skin, is the same reason that DP dermaceuticals is molecularly weighted, chemically sound, but the formulation specific to microneedling procedures. That concludes my question and answers, but the team at Dermapen World India can continue on for direct messaging for you as well. But I want to say a massive thank you. I'm exceptionally excited to be back same time and same day next week, and I look forward to seeing you then. I'm now going to hand you back to Umang Bamri from Dermapen World India. It's been a pleasure.
Thank you, Andrew. It's been lovely hearing you out again, and I think people have been missing you out here in India. Thank you, audience. It's been lovely to have you all with us. We've had a phenomenal audience coverage done for India market. We would look forward to seeing you again on April 21 at the same time for half an hour. That's starting from 3 o'clock to 3:30. The next topic for web series is going to be indications for microneedling and versatility of Dermapen 4. We would really appreciate your connecting us on Facebook and on Insta on Dermapen World _India. Thank you.